Hi, in this lecture, we're going to talk about characteristics of the data. Statistics is a science about the data. It's about collecting, summarizing, and analyzing the data sets. And for us, it's really important to know the similarities and the differences between the data sets. And we are going to do this using the characteristics of the data. One of the important characteristics of the data is called the center, which is the representative value that indicates where is the middle of the data set is located. So one of the really easiest and intuitive ways of measuring the central tendency of the data set is called the mean, which is the average or the typical value. So let's consider an example. So I've got lots of people with the different heights, and if I would like to know what's the typical height of the people in this group, in the city or in this country, I'm just going to find the average value. So I can find the average by just counting, by just summing all the heights of the people and dividing this to the number of the people. So another way to measure the central tendency of the data set is called the median, where we're going to choose a data value which is in the middle of the data set. Again, if I've got the people with the different heights, I'm going to choose a person who's going to be in the middle. So the problem is, so the value of the median for the same data set should be always the same. But if I choose the median without, like, when the people are located randomly, I'm going to get the median always differently. So that is why, first of all, what I have to do is to sort the data set. So in this case, I'm going to put all the people in one line in descending order, or you can do this in the ascending order. Then we're going to choose a data set or the person who's in the middle of the data set. So I'm going to count the number of the data values. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 persons. Then the person number 5, who is going to be in the middle, is going to be, so his height is going to be the median. So if his height is equal to, the, for example, to the 170, then his height is going to be the median. So in order to calculate the median, we need to sort the data set and choose the value which is in the middle. So another way to calculate the central tendency is called the mode. Mode is the most frequent value. So if I've got, again, the lots of people in our society or in our group, I would like to know what's the most frequent height. So in this case, I would like to find basically the people with the same height, then count, hey, so how many people have the, like, 170 centimeters or 180 centimeters and so on. So in this example, you can see that the green colored people are more frequent, right? So there are 3 persons with the same height. And if I assume that their height is equal to the 170 centimeters, then the mode of the data set is equal to the 170 centimeters. It's the most frequent value. It's the most frequent height in our group. So another characteristic of the data set is called the variation. It's basically telling us how the data sets, the data values are spread. So there are some data sets where the values are spread around the whole range of the values. And in this case, the variance is going to be higher. And there are some data sets where the points are concentrated around the mean or around some other points. And in this case, the variance is going to be smaller. So throughout this course, we're going to learn how to calculate the variance numerically using such a concepts as the variance or the standard deviation or the range. So depending on the data set, these concepts are going to tell us numerically whether the data values are spread or not spread, or basically the spreadity of the data sets. So the distribution is one of the central topics of statistics. It's a nature or the shape of the spread of the data values. So depending on how the values are distributed or spread around the range of the data sets, we can tell lots of things about the data sets. For example, so in this example, this is the spread of some diseases depending on the age of the people. And from this graph, I can see that the people with the higher age are tend to have this disease. So it's like, so this is the distribution of the disease over the ages. and it's going to tell us lots of things. So it's basically tell us the tendencies as well. So we're going to learn about how to create this kind of graphs. We're going to learn about how to create the tables, the distribution tables, and so on. So the last characteristic of the data is called the outliers. It's a sample values inside our data set, which are much different from the others. So just like, graphically, if you look to our data set, so if this is our data set, so if I've got the two more points which are much far away from the others, they are going to be our outliers. So do you see these two red points, which are still in the same data set, but they are much different, much far away from the others. So throughout this course, we're going to learn what we say that they are, so how to measure, first of all, the distance between the data points and so between the outliers and the others, and what we call actually, what does it mean this far away from the others, right? So how to define this mathematically. So is it should be like a 1 meters or 1 kilometers, or how we need to define this? So mathematically, we're going to define this strictly, and we're going to say, hey, so this is the outlier if it fulfills, if it is more than some measurements. So let's summarize. The characteristic of the data is the center, which is the representative or of the middle of the data set, or the typical value. The variation is how the data values are, how far the data values are spread. The distribution is the nature or the shape of the spreadity of the data set. And the outliers, it's the values which are far away from the others.